Okay, what's up, guys? A little bit of technical difficulties, but anyway, it's January 22nd, 2024, and we are just doing a quick review. I finished up, I guess, the volume projection that I was started on yesterday, and then I ended up Manir came on, and we were reworking the strategy that I started for Manir, and so finally got that squared away. We're 4-5 hours into it anyway, but again, multiple arrays, multiple loops. It was a bear. We got through that. So what I started on yesterday was the volume projection, which can be seen on this chart here. So I was pretty much looking for how we can potentially project the volume that we may see at the end of the day. So starting with volume that we find at 10 o'clock. So, we need a few bars worth of data before we can have something to go off of, right? So I chose 10 o'clock. You could choose any time, but I chose 10 o'clock. So this is ultimately the script that I put together. So I use an array to assign values, not only for the volume at the end of the day, which is down here, if the time is 1600, but also we captured what the volume is. It's 4 o'clock already, man. All right, so I've barely done anything today. I've been doing stuff around the house and switching the dryer out. I made I welded together a mount for my sound bar up here. I did a lot of stuff today, not much on stocks though, but anyway, so I made an array that would assign at 10 o'clock in the morning, it would assign the value of volume to the first dimension for the array. And then the 6-period average of the volume went in the second position. And then on the third position was the relationship of the open price to the 200-period moving average. And then when the time is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's the end of the day, then we are assigning, what did I do here? Count D is greater than 1 and count D is less than 100. Yep, okay, so we're just using that same array in the fourth position and doing VTotal, which VTotal is equal to, I know I did like a cumulative of the, yeah. So here I reset VTotal to 0 if the time is 1600, but where's my calculation? Okay, so if the time is greater than or equal to 930, so starting at the 930 bar, and then every bar thereafter up until 1600, we're going to take the ticks, which is the volume, and assign it to VTotal. And then on the subsequent bar, we're going to take the volume again and then add that to the VTotal prior to it. And then on the next bar, we're going to take the new volume and add that, so we get a cumulative type of value. So by the end of the day, we have the total volume for the whole day. All right, and so then all those array values, we have them here for the print function. So then if the time is 1600 and the and count D is greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 100, then we're going to print all of these functions. So I set the chart up so it's probably going like 50 days back or something. I went 300 days back. All right, so for 300, but I think my array is only set up for 100, so therefore I should only have about 100. But when I run this script on here, it's going to print out all these values, right? And I already know what they are, and I gave myself some notes here, right? So the first one is volume, the second one is the 6-period average, the third one is the open to 200, and then the fourth one is the total volume. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all I had to do is go and copy all this wherever it is. That's coming up with another script there, but all I had to do was copy all these or select them, right click, copy, and then I went over to Excel. Now I've got a mess on here because I promise you It took me about 4 or 5 hours to figure out how to make this work. And I finally got it figured out. And I'll tell you what my problem was initially. And so from here, I know how to move forward. But I have a lot of stuff going on here, so we can get rid of this one. All right, so essentially so what you do, I'll do it down here. You paste your data, and then you go to wherever here, and then you use text import wizard. And the way I put it as a print function, I put commas in between everything. I did that for a reason. You could do it with spaces if you want to, but you could do it with anything. I use the delimited feature of the text import wizard, and then I go to next. And from there, I'm saying that it's comma delimited. So once I put the comma there, then I hit finish, and then it puts everything in its own column, right? Everything has got its own column now. Remember, this was volume, this was V6, this was the relationship to the SA200, and then this was total volume of the day. So essentially, I get this chart up here, with this being the day of reference. And I could actually printed out the date, and that would make my data more meaningful. However, I just wanted to be able to understand the concept of how it's going to work, so I can continue this on. Okay, so again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to project what the total volume of the day will be based on the volume at 10 o'clock. All right, so what I did was I created a scatter plot, and I did not initially do a scatter plot, but for that projection, you have to do a scatter plot. All right, so where are we at? Okay, here's my scatter plot. We're going to move this chart to a new page, new sheet, chart 1. Okay, so here's my scatter plot. So for every volume amount at 10 o'clock, it corresponds. So the x-axis is your volume at 10 o'clock, and your y-axis is your total volume for the day. So on one of these data points, it went over. The morning volume was 14,005. No, the morning volume was 1,453,084. Okay, and then the corresponding total volume for that day was, I should really put like the commas in here. I guess it looks like 40,016,168. Okay, and so it just takes all those plots, puts them on this chart. So then what you want to do is you want to say, what's the relationship? When volume in the morning is this, total volume at the end of the day is this. What's the relationship? And it's going to be like an average, average relationship, or you're looking for the regression line. And I didn't know, I guess regression lines can mean multiple things, but typically I guess they're like the best fit line. And so you can have a linear regression line, like a straight line regression line, or you can have a polynomial regression line, a quadratic, or I guess that'd be quadratic. But here, let's look at the different trend lines. Logarithmic, exponential, linear, power, polynomial. All right, so not sure why we're adding a new one, but we're gonna format that one. Okay, and then I use, not logarithmic, I think I use I was trying to use the polynomial all morning because I thought that it was a good fit. Well, let me tell you why. Apparently, when you are looking at data like this, you should be using the scatter plot like this, which has the values lowest to greatest on the x-axis and then lowest to greatest on the y-axis. I was using, and this is what took me 4 hours to figure out. I was using, if you go to change chart type, I was using a line chart. And apparently it plots the data differently. So you see now this line here looks like it's a pretty decent line. This line looks like a pretty decent line. Watch this. We're going to go to polynomial to order of 3 to order of 4. We're going to display the equation on the chart. I don't know if you can remember what that equation is. 22, 793, 42, 64, 7, 21, 0040. Let's just remember this first one. It's to the 4th power. It's 22.793. Okay, this is a polynomial to the 4th degree. All these values are down here, but apparently, by the way they're on here as a line chart, Excel treats it like, I don't know how to describe it because I don't fully understand it, but I know this is not what I needed. Excel treats it like it's chronological, like you have the first data point, second data point, third data point, fourth data point, fifth data point, so forth and so on. And so then you get this line that you're trying to plug into, but it's really based on a relationship between both the X axis, the Y axis, and some third chronological piece. I was trying to figure out a different word for it, but the chronological piece. But you shouldn't have that into this mix. So again, if you look at this equation, it gives you 22.793. And I use that formula, I use that polynomial, that quadratic, whatever formula, and I put X back into it, and I tried to solve for Y, and I kept getting the wrong thing, It never would compute properly. And so I found out that I should not be using a line chart, I should be using a scatter plot. So remember, this is, we did to the line is to the 4th order, and it is a polynomial, and the first digit, or the first, I forget what they call it, constant, is 22.793. The second one is 4264. 22.793, 4264. Okay, I'll tell you what. Can I copy that? $22,793.4264. Okay, all right, so now we're going to go back to the scatter plot, which is what I should have been using all morning, which is why I lost so much time. But nevertheless, Google comes in to help out. It still took me a while because I'm using ChatGPT and I'm using all of them, and I'm still not getting the right answers. But I know that something is wrong here. All right, so now we're going to go to format trendline, and this is still to the 4th order, and it's a polynomial. Let's display the equation. You see this equation? Completely different from what we got from the other chart. And it's the same polynomial to the 4th order. Same data set, but because it's a different line, because the values are plotted and treated differently, the calculation is different. So again, if you're going to use some type of projection, if you're looking for some type of projection, then you probably need to use this. And I took this information, when I finally got it figured out, I think I use a linear, maybe I use a logarithmic relationship. I forget which one I use, but I think I just want to go with the linear. I think I went with logarithmic. Or I may have went back with polynomial just to make sure that I actually had indeed figured it out. But I think I should go with a linear. Linear fits pretty well. Linear fits pretty well. Although I think I would like to see it. Can I draw? Can I draw? Insert drawing. They don't want you to draw on your charts. I haven't been doing a lot with Excel in a while. But if I could draw, I would just draw a line it would look something like this. I think that's my line. Not that. Maybe that. So anyway, but that's how you would project, right? So then we go back to sheet 1. And then here are the values. So with this one might have just been a linear relationship. This formula, something like that. Okay, and so I took all the same values. These are the x-axis, which is the 10 o'clock a.m. volume, and then this is the total volume for the day. All right, so I use the formula, I think, for the linear relationship, and I put, you see here, I have H22. I put H22 in there, and then it computed it found out that this would have been the total volume for the day. So how far off is this projected volume, which is what we're trying to do? We're trying to come up with a formula that gives us a decent projection. How close is this projection to what actually happened that day? And there's a number of other factors that can go into this, right? But how close is it? Well, I took this number and subtracted the actual number, or vice versa, and we get that our number was, I guess, this much off, which was 55% off. 55%, I think too low. Which one I have it? Minus L22. It was too high. So this number is 55% too high because I took the table number and I subtracted this number. So this number is 55% too high. Okay, and I did the same thing with the polynomial formula. This was the polynomial formula. You see it's doing the polynomial. The x value to the fourth, to the third, to the second. So this was to the fourth order. Okay, and so we got this as our answer. So when we use the linear relationship, we got this as a projection for the total day. And we use the polynomial formula, we got this as a projection. And so the linear relationship was 55% off. The polynomial relationship, or the polynomial formula equation regression line, was 58% off. And then you see it just works its way down, all the differences, right? And so I was curious, I went down to the bottom. And so if you look at the linear relationship and you want to see overall which one is off by the most. So we're going to highlight all these and then we're going to look and see what the average is. This is on average, it's about 5% too high, about 5% too high. And then if we highlight this column for the polynomial relationship, it's on average 4% too high. But the polynomial relationship was a little bit closer than this relationship. Like I said, even though you were quite off there and this looked better, so which one do you use? I don't know, but now I know how to do it. And so what I would end up doing is I would go back to the script or back here, and then I do a filter. I say, all right, well, every day that is, we'll say every day that is, I don't know that we have many. Every day that's greater than 0. So this is saying that this was a bullish day, or at least at 10 o'clock, the open was over the 200 period moving average. That's what these days are. I don't know if that changes that on the chart, or yeah, it did actually. When I filtered it, it changed it on the chart. Okay, well, let's see what the line would be. Now that line looks a lot tighter, right? And I know that, you know, I took statistics in college, and you know, some of this stuff you'll think that you'll never use, but when you're doing higher level tasks, you use some of that stuff that very few people would use. Statisticians and those kind of folks, you know, financiers, they're not using everything that everybody else is using all day long, but they have what Liam Neeson would say, I have a special set of skills, you know. So I've got to dive back into that bag, that statistics bag. But this line here looks pretty good. Just a linear line, polynomial line, I don't know. But it looks pretty good. And so I know that there's something to look at the data set and find so you would like not include this one because it's so far outside of the deviation, like the standard deviation. There'd be something to where you can not consider plots that are so far outside of the typical regression line or the standard deviation or something like that. I don't know. I've got to figure that. I'm going to look more into that too, because now where I'm at in the trading sphere is, now that my coding is getting stronger, now I think it's going to be a lot about the numbers, what the numbers are saying. So if I can incorporate meaningful formulas and meaningful calculations into my scripts, then it's going to make it a lot stronger. Again, everybody can say, is the high, you know, or is the open over the close? Anybody can code that, but not everybody is taking it to this level. And yes, everything doesn't have to be complex, but I guarantee you the largest boulder is going to have the biggest diamond under it, just because not everybody is turning it over. Not everybody can. Not everybody will. But anyway, I'm not saying to make your life complex. I'm just saying I'm making my life complex. That's why I don't have any hair, you know. But I have reaped some rewards from my hard work too, though. So we won't talk about all that. All right. So this is a positive day. These are days where the open over the 200 period moving average. So if we filter this out, if we filter it for less than, so days where we were under the 200 period moving average, and we'll go back to our chart. Now I don't remember. Well, I guess it'd be easy to look. It looks like a lot of these dots are closer to the left-hand side of the screen, but that could just be a function of the fact that we have this outlier here that's way to the right-hand side of the screen, and so it's changing the scale. But either way, I mean, it looks similar to what the other one did, similar. Whereas it looks like a lot of this is trying to trend straight up. So that would mean the 10 o'clock a.m. volume relative to the end of day volume is steeper. Okay. Let's go back to this, and we're going to say, so these are days where it opened under the 200 period moving average. And you know what, I should put another one on here, print another one out that says even though it opened under the 200 period moving average, this is a good one. Even though it opened under the 200 period moving average, where did it close? Did it close under the 200 period moving average, or did it close over? Because again, in order to go up, you got to be down, right? So, I mean, when you're talking about moving averages, anyway. All right, so for the total volume here, the average is this is not an average. Is this this is average? This is an average bar. Okay. So the average here is, gosh, man, that's really bothering me. Let's go to home, general. Let's get some commas in here. Let's get some commas. Mess up some commas. Mess up some commas. Well, some of you know how the real song goes. All right. So the average on the volume average on over the last 100 days, the average volume on your days where the stock opened on the last 100 days, the volume on the days where the 10 o'clock bar opened under the 200 period moving average was 125.101. Okay. All right, and then your days where the stock opened, not opened, where the 10 o'clock bar was over the 200 period moving average was no, wait a minute. We sorted the wrong thing. Okay, we're supposed to be sorting this one. Filters less than, greater than 0. And then this one needs to be clear. Okay, because all those are greater than 0 actually, because volume is greater than 0. If it's not, then we have a problem. Nevertheless, why do I feel like it's, well, for one, that stayed the same. So, okay, all right, so I see it. This average here is just doing the average for the entire column. It's not changing based on the sort, based on what's present. So, okay. All right, so the total for all days is a 125, 101, 222. And that's the total average, if you will. All right, so for over 200, it was 130, 234, 909. All right, and then for under, the total volume averaged 120, 918, 218. Okay. And then the average, again, between 120 and 130, splitting the difference, the average of them all is 125. So again, if you're looking at, if you're just trying to see what the data is saying, it's saying that on days where the 10 o'clock bar opens under the 200 period moving average, you're going to tend to have less volume than you do on days where it opens over the 200 period moving average. The days where it opens over the 200 period moving average, you tend to have about 130 million. And when it opens, when the 10 o'clock bar is opening under the 200 period moving average, 120 million. That's kind of cool. And we know with lower volume, what do we know? I don't know. I'm not going to assume. That's why I said, and that's why I'm doing all this, because I'm going to stop assuming, because I think it's plenty of people out trading that just make assumptions. They just trying to figure out, trying to see. I feel like a lot of people are just making assumptions, and not many people are really looking at the data. And I've looked at the data before a little bit, but just when I open the chart, and when I look at the chart and I say, oh, what did this volume do right here? What did this volume do right here? It's a little bit higher here. But I have never gone as far as saying, okay, well, let me take all the data and see on average what's going on. You know, all right, so that's what I said. I mean, you can put in the effort, you can do it smarter, you can do it different, or you can keep doing what everybody else is doing and get the same results. But I'm not here to judge, man. Plenty of people judge. I'm not here to judge. So you do what you want to do. But don't judge me either, because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do too, right? All right. I'm just gonna do one other thing on here today, and then I'm gonna call it a day. One of the things that I want to do one of the things that I'm curious of is on a given chart. We want to get in what? We want to get in before a big run, right? We want to get in right before momentum. Or some people want to get in with momentum. I don't know. I want to get in right before momentum. So if I was to do that, I'm going to I want to make a script to look for these large bullish candles. But even better than that, I want to look for large bullish candles. But I want to know what the climate should be like before a large bullish candle is about to happen. A large bullish candle that's larger than the average candle range, that has volume larger than the average range. What typically happens before that? Is it typically a doji candle? Is it typically a candle with a range that's shorter than the moving average range? Is it a candle that candle before, is that candle before under the 9-period moving average? Is that candle before, does it have a volume less than the 6-period moving average of volume? Or that candle before, is it a long bearish candle? Or is it a bullish candle? What happens most of the time? What happens most of the time? And so that's what I'm out to find out. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time. I'm gonna put my music on. I'm gonna come up with a quick script that will, when we have a large bullish candle, and actually, as I modify this, it's going to get to be super intense. It's going to probably have 20 different columns, because I want to know that much. Not only do I want to know if that bullish candle is, it has certain conditions, but then about the bullish candle, is that bullish candle usually over the 200-period moving average? Or is it usually under the 200-period moving average? Is it usually of low volume, or is it usually of higher volume? I'm not particularly looking at the opening candles. but I could do the same thing, use the same retrieval format to find out what does gap up day look like. What happens, or what typically happens on a gap up day. If the gap up is X% and we're under the 200 period moving average, where does the chart usually finish? Does it usually finish back at 200 period moving average? Does it usually finish above the open of the day? Or does it usually finish below the open of the day? These are all questions that I have. These are all questions that the answer is there. The answer is there. So I'm gonna put my music on. If anybody has anything to say, you can certainly, if you're on, then you can certainly chime in. But again, you can't listen to my music. So let me put something up here, and then I will. If anybody has anything to say, you can certainly. Yeah. Oh, I guess I can put this in the chat over here. I don't use the chat as much. I just talk a lot. Y'all know me. I talk a lot. So, all right. Okay, and if anybody was ever wondering, Nipsey Hussle is the best coding music to go by. All right, here we go. All right, guys. So this is what we have here. Oh, let's see if I can get this stop. Looks like it's still computing, right? And that's kind of what I was saying was that we'd have a lot of data that we'd be looking at, right? And so this is on Tesla. I'm trying to think of a better. There we go. I'm trying to think of a better way to do it. But for now, because I'm looking at every well, you know what? There is another way I can do it. There's another way I can do it. So I'll go back and I'll redo this, but because essentially what I'm doing is I'm storing these values for 1,000,000 bars, right? And so if TradeStation did not have historical data that I could tap into, I would have to do it this way. But I guess technically, since TradeStation does have historical data that I can tap into, I don't need to do it this way. I don't need to save the value for 1,000,000 bars. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm saving the value for 1,000,000 bars, and then I'm looking to see if the criteria is met for a bullish bar. Then we want to take we want to print the criteria for that bar before it, which, you know what? I didn't even turn that on. I didn't even turn that on. So I need to go back and look at this. So I've got all the values here, but I don't want to print them all. Yeah, we did. I said okay, so I just need to change one thing. I need to change a few things, but in order to make this work for what I want it to be, if condition 1 is met, which means that we have a bullish candle with a range greater than 1.2 times the range. If that's met, then and count B is, within those 1,000,000 bars, then we're going to print this. We don't want to print this information about that bullish bar. Well, we do. We don't want that information for right now. Right now, I want to see what the criteria, what the environment looks like just prior to that bullish bar. So all these need to print out count B of 1 bar at go. So all these need to be -1. But while this is loading up, I need to figure out what I need to do to just use a historical data. So again, this is one way that I could do it, but then the other way would be if it's a bullish candle, Oh. And then that's the other part about learning more and doing more. Sometimes then you do it the hard way. It's like you have a hammer and you have a jackhammer and you need to nail in this big nail. Well, you could really do it with your regular hammer. Your regular hammer is big enough for it. But instead, you go out and you use the jackhammer and you're messing up the walkway, and you're tearing everything up. You get it in, but you've messed everything up. That's what I did here. I applied the jackhammer. All right, so let's save all this, or it's already saved. I'm gonna copy it all because I can use this same info for the next one. We're just gonna say bullish environment be 2. Okay, get all that out of there. And paste that. How do I keep losing my stream? Okay. All right, paste that. Okay, so if, again, so we really didn't need to do the array. Not for this. Not for this. Now, yeah, just not for this. So we're just going to mute that out. Don't even really need count B. We're just going to say if we have a bool and the range is greater than range 7 and range is greater than range 7 times 1.2, another 20% onto that, then condition 1 equals true, else is false. And then, so we don't even need this part. If condition 1, then we're going to print. So we're going to use all these things that we had before, but we're just going to write them out and just hit one bar, go. All right, so the first one to be range. Actually, let's do it in this order. Well, I need to establish an order for everything that I want to do, and that way all of my charts and everything thereafter will look the same. So I think I want it to be date, and it'll be of a bar ago. Let me put this in. Let's put a comma, and then we'll save that, and we'll copy it. See, that thing is still running in the background, working on a million arrays. Come on, Breeze. Okay, all right, so date, time, date, time, then we'll go with the let's go with the open, high, low, close. So open, high, low, close, and then we'll do the open, that current, no, yes, the current bar, open minus 200, SA 200. All right. No, the bar before. Everything's going to be the bar before. Let's not mess around here. Open minus SA 200 was a simple period moving average of 200 bars, and then open that, and then what do we have left? Range, volume. Let's go ahead and do the range, which we could technically compute ourselves. Range. Let's now do the VWAP of a bar ago. All right, let's do the volume, which is ticks of a bar ago. We did the range. Let's do range 7. So the 7 period. The 7 period average of the range. And then we need the volume, the 6 period average of the volume, which is V6. And then time. We already have time. So we should have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I have range twice? I had range and range 7. Yeah, range and range 7. Oh, and then that middle one was if it's a bear or bull. Bearish candle or bullish candle. And that thing still isn't done. All right, so we're going to put that after the open, high, low, close. So we'll bring this out here and say this will be condition 2. If bull, then condition 2 equals true, else condition 2 equals false. False, fails. So this will be condition 2. Yeah, we could do true, false. No. One or two. All right, and that'll be after open, high, low, close. We'll do that's not right. We'll do value 2. Can assign an integer or a numeric value to a condition. The condition would have to be a Boolean. It would be true or false. So we'll do value 2 equals 1, else value 2 equals 2. All right. Verify that. We didn't close the... Okay, good to go. So once Tesla gets fooling around with my array, I stumped it. Got Tesla good. Yeah. It's having a hard time. It's having a hard time. Once that gets done, then we're going to use this, and then we will not get the same values. These should be all the values for the bullish candles, not the bearish candles. And why are all those coming up as 1? What was the second position? All these are coming up as 1. Second position was, oh, it was a bear or bull. And why are all those 1? Because they're all representative of bullish candles. Because that was the condition that we said it had to be. But again, I really wanted to see what the candle before the large bullish candle was. Because I don't want to get in on the large bullish candle. I want to get in before it. All right, so this has been extra slow. I think I'm gonna take a break while it does its thing. This is the only other thing I was going to do today. So once this gets done computing, then I'll put that into an Excel spreadsheet, and then we will have captured Tesla. What do I call it? Bullish setup candles. And I'm gonna put that bad boy right there, and then we'll make it into a chart, and then I'll crunch the data later. But I'm excited about this. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. So I'm excited about this. And I don't even know if I can stop. I don't even know if I can stop it now that it's going, and it's losing its mind over there. What is this? Settings. Easy language utilization monitor. Radar screen. I got a visitor. I'm proud of my daughter. She's getting the scientific bug, creating inventions and stuff like that. So
I built a smart door.
She built a smart door. Okay, so I'm all about the scientific process, critical thinking, and she's biting off a little bit of that. So I'm proud of her. A proud papa. But anyway, we are still working on waiting for this other desktop to finish. If it doesn't, then I may force it to finish, or I'll just we'll go over it another day. But I thought I could go on here and see what the utilization is on the current desktop, but it's only showing me the radar screen desktop. So, and I can't do anything else with this desktop because it's like frozen. You see, it's calculating a couple at a time. I mean, it's going slow. So, again, I guess I don't blame it, but yeah, should not have done so many values for the array. But either way, there's no sweat off my back. It's the computer that's doing all the calculation. All right, but while this runs, I got nothing else for you. You know, I'm gonna go check out my daughter's project, and then I'll check back in about 10 minutes, and hopefully it'll be done. So let me put that on the screen here, and then I'll step out, and then I'll be back. Oh, it looks like it might be done. So yeah, I'll be back. Give me 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll look at this. We'll look at this data. All right, so I gave her a few ideas for her projects for her smart door. All right, but anyway, so let's see what it came up with. It captured quite a bit of data. So let's bring this over into Excel and see what's typical of a bar prior to a large bullish bar on Tesla. What does the typical setup bar look like? Because then you just make your strategies and your studies revolve around that data. I feel like that's then working forward instead of working backward, trying to look at the chart and figure, is this a good place? Is that a good place? Was it? No, let the chart tell you. But then you got to do this piece. You got to do this piece then. Like I said, though, I spent 4 hours trying to figure out how to use Linist on Excel and quadratic formulas, and I spent a while. So not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm just saying that you got to not think like everybody else. All right, let's paste that. Look at all this data, all this beautiful data. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Look at that. It didn't even need a million slots. It used 2,000 slots. So, and I think this was 500 days back. But where is our import wizard? Because we can't use the data like this. We need the data to be no, don't do that to me. We need this data to be delimited so it'll go into a a table. There it is. There it is right there. All right. Text import wizard. Boom. Delimited. Yes. Using the commas. All right. And we'll just look at this. But remember, this is not the one that we need. Remember, this is not the one that we need. The one that we need was the second. I'm still not sure why it's not. You know what? I didn't put any commas in here. There are no commas in here. I guess it's just going to be spaces. All right, so we use import wizard. The delimited feature will will not use commas. It will use spaces. So to just use spaces. All right. All right, so it'll look like that. You know what? It's good to go through this though. All right, so the problem here is, so two things. One thing is we didn't get the right data that we wanted because we actually have the data of all the bulls. See, all these are one. This means that all these are bulls, right? So one, we got the wrong data. All right, two, you saw that the columns and everything were off. Well, on the print log, I've got other stuff printing, right? I've got other scripts and stuff running on here. So these other scripts are running other data. I'm gonna clear this. We're gonna take that one study off. We're gonna take that one study off because like I said, it's capturing too much. It's working too hard. It's not capturing too much information. It's just working too hard. So we're gonna get rid of that one. We will add back the bullish environment 2, V2. All right, we'll add that. Look at that. Did anybody see the difference? Come on. You gotta clap that up. Did anybody see the difference? The other one took like 10, 15 minutes. And this one was almost instantaneous. All right. Well, would you look at that? That's interesting. All right, now I still have to go through this data and make sure that it's right. I fear that something is still not quite right. All right, let's see. So this one, what's the most recent one? Because all these are showing 1. I mean, all the setup bars, all the bars before these large bullish moves are not going to be bullish bars, are they? I mean, I did set it for it to be a very large bullish bar, a large range, but I wouldn't think that all those bars would be bullish bars as a bar prior to a bullish move, a large bullish move, but maybe. Goes to show you what I know. All right, so this one is, the date is January 19th. The time is 15:25. January 19th. Time is 15:25. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that is not right though, right? So this is the large bullish move that we're talking about, but this is the candle before it. So it's capturing this candle at 15:25, which is showing that it's returning a 1. The 1 would be saying that it's a bullish candle, and it shouldn't be a 1. If bull and range 2, then condition 1 equals true, else condition 1 equals false. If condition 1, wait a minute, we got to go to 2, version 2. All right. If bool, then value 2 equals 1. Else, I'll put else if bear. Why does it even care? Because we're not using, oh. If bool, then value 2 equals 1, else if bear, then. Okay. All right. So we'll refresh this, and it should clear the print log automatically before it starts back into it. Now, last time when we did it, it came up instantly. This time it's thinking a bit. What's that all about? Value 2. All right, well. Yeah, it's thinking this time. Yeah, but if that's 1525, then that's still not right, because that should be a 2. All right, what is going on? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Got it. Does anybody see it? Anybody see it? I'm referencing on all these bars. I'm referencing the bar before, the bar 1 bar ago, except for when I get to value 2. Now I'm just referencing the bullish bar that we're identifying, right? So that also has to be of 1 bar ago. Okay. All right, guys, are you with me? Wake up. Are you with me? I guess I gotta wake up. All right, so rerunning it. Let's see what we get. We're gonna get some good data this time. Statistics, numbers. I mean, I do love numbers, but man, this is something else. I don't think all those numbers have any separation in them either. Like the volume, yeah, there's no if you look at this, some of these are separated and then some of these aren't, and I've never been able to figure out a rhyme or reason when some of them are separated and some of them aren't. But because these aren't separated, then it won't pull up properly in the in Excel. It won't be delimited. So we need to put commas in between everything. So we'll just do that. And another comma. Is that right? Or we'll copy this, and then we'll just put it after every one. I think that works. I liked it the other way, how I had it organized on the other script, but this will work. Okay. All right. Sorry, Tesla. Just when you thought you had it, I done gone and messed it up on you again. I done done it. Now we wait for the juicy data. The juicy data. We all want to know When we have that nice long bullish bar that's 120%, the 7-bar average range, that bar before it, what does it look like? What is its typical presentation? Is it typically a bearish or bullish candle? More than 70% of the time. Are we going to get 50% of the time? Or are we going to get 70% of the time it's a bear or bull? What are we going to get? Does it typically have high volume or low volume? What are we going to get? This is juicy. This is juicy stuff. Probability is what we're working with here. So even when you think you want to get into a position, if you're a discretionary trader, even when you think you want to get into a position, you want to look at this data here and you want to say, 70% of the time it's a bullish candle before a large bullish candle rolls in. It's a shorter range bullish candle, but it's a bullish candle nonetheless. And I'm about to get in on a bearish candle. Should probably wait. Just like we're waiting on this. But I think that this goes back, I think I set this up for 300 or 500 days. So it's got a while to, it's got a lot of data to compute. For sure. Come on. Come on. Whoa, what's going on there? Wow. Rock Nation cool presidents. All right. Well, while that sets up, I guess I can go ahead and get the labels for our chart, for our table. So we've got date, time, open, high, low, close, bull. Can I put that in there? Yeah, bull bear. Open to the 200 period moving average. Range 7. VWAP. Ticks. Volume. Volume E6. And these will essentially be the iterations. Just go one. And we'll just plot it down. Still going. They're never going to give you what you need. You need this. You need this information. Once they realize I'm trying to tap into the best bits, they're like, nah, better not give that to them. Now, James was on here the other day and he said at TradeStation, you can, or potentially you can purchase bid-ask information through TradeStation. So let me look that up. TradeStation, bid-ask data. Purchase historical data. Well, man, we're gonna have to put this thing on pause. Well, I guess while it's going, I could try something else. Market data pricing. All right, so this is what I'm looking at for TradeStation. Oh, bejeebers. Well, this is good. This is good. I'm giving my computer a hard task. I said I was gonna work it hard now, and I feel like even the computer is getting it work out here. All right, S&P indices, indices. Yeah, I don't know. I have to call TradeStation at some point. The level 2 we already have, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. It's not jumping out at me. All right, TradeStation, you got to come on. Well, I'm going to just kind of put this in the background and then yep, I'm gonna leave it be, and then I'll come back to it. And anybody who's interested in seeing the results, check back later, or I'll put a I'll put a chapter on the video or something so that you can get right to it. But yeah, this is taking a long time. And with that, fade to black. Okay, so it looks like it did finally finish up. How about that? Good gracious. I've been up the street and back. No, I just grabbed something to eat. All right, so let's do something with these values. Sorry, TradeStation. I know. We asked a lot of you. I know. I know it. All right, go down here, use import wizard, delimit it, yes. Next, we're going to use the comma since we now have commas. Next, and finish. Perfect. All right, so that's one item number 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. Oh, 3, 4. Shut the door. And all the way down to the bottom. Do this guy. We're going to insert it as a table. Yes, it has headers. Okay, so this is all our data. Go down to the bottom. And then let's get some averages or sums or something. Okay, so you see now we finally have good data here. So some of these are bears, some of these are bulls. What's the average? What's the average? All right, so this is date. We don't need an average. We don't need a average for time. Although, I don't know what the averages would look like for time, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to know what part of the day we typically see the largest cluster of those bullish moves. So we're going to do average, and then we'll do it of this entire volume. Jesus, all the way back to the beginning. Spell? What? Average of time. Average time. There we go. All right, now we just go across. Okay. Of course. Of course. All right, so when we're trying to find out whether or not the setup bar for a large bullish candle is more often a bull or a bear, 1.51, right in the middle, in the middle of 1 and 2, right? So it's actually a little bit closer to 2, so it's more often a bearish candle. What's the average range? The average range is 0.85. Average. The average of the 7 bars of the range tends to be 0.77. And this is 0.85. So what does that tell you? That tells you that typically the candles are a little bit narrower, and then the range of your setup candle tends to be just a little bit larger than your average range of 7 candles. What is the volume? It's at 1 mil, 1.5 mil. Okay, and then the average volume is 1.25 mil. So again, the volume tends to be a little bit larger than the average volume of the past 6 bars. So the range tends to be a little bit larger. The average volume tends to be a little bit larger. And the position to the 200 period moving average. Now this one is interesting because we have a lot of values up here. Negatives, I'm curious of how far all these are away. Got a lot of large numbers on both sides, negative and positives. But on average, tends to be just over the 200 period moving average. Tends to be just over the 200 period moving average. But so what I would ultimately do though is this is all the bars. This is all the conditions. This is in a bullish day, in a bearish day, when the volume is low, when the volume is high. This is everything. So what I would do is I would come up here and I would narrow the criteria down. So I would say, okay, well, let's look when the time is before 12 o'clock. What's up, honey? You need to be getting ready. Okay, come and check in a minute. All right, so we'll look and see when the time is before 12 o'clock. Number filters less than 1200. So we'll look when the time is before 12 o'clock, and let's look for, well, let's see what this, so when the time is before 12 o'clock, what's the average as far as, is it most often a bear or a bull? Still roughly the same, 1.512. And that's what I said, the market is so smart. I mean, even when you're looking back so many days at the numbers, at the statistics, it's still fairly well balanced. You know, it's one of those things like, you know, the market is not always fair, but it's always right kind of a thing. It's still just right in the middle. And this goes back as far as December the 21st, it looks like. Okay. All right. What's next? So we took out, so we just look for times prior to 12 o'clock, and we want to see when there is when it's already opening over the 200 period moving average. So we need to make these greater than 0. This means that the bar is over the 200 period moving average and it's before 12 o'clock. I mean, I think that's all I want to change right now. But so now we'll go back to this bull bear column, see with that criteria, are they most often bears or bulls? 1.52, still didn't change very much. Okay, all right. So we have our work cut out for us. Even though we have all this data, you know, we have to figure out what it's truly telling us. I didn't calculate the wicks. I can calculate the wicks just based on this information here. But I didn't calculate the wicks. So to calculate the bottom wick, we can just do the well, if it's a bearish candle, we'd do the open minus, excuse me, the low, the close minus the low. So maybe next time I'll calculate that in TradeStation and then it'll just compute it for me. The volume, let's do this as a percentage of the 6 period moving average volume. Yeah, again, so the volume is a little bit larger than the 6 period moving average volume. Okay, all right, well, that's all I set out to do today. So we at least came up with a script where we can reasonably pull all this information and then export it to Excel. I know that there's other ways that you can actually print to file, which I'll play with that. I'll play with that later and see if I can figure that out, and maybe I'll share that. Sends information to a specified file from a print statement. Okay, well that's good to know, but I think I have to create that first. Yeah, it's a valid path and file name encompassing quotes. I think I have to create that first. I wonder what that looks like. Will it overwrite anything that's already there, or will it append it? What will it do? So I'll play with that today. So I would essentially make a new file and then just put print file this and then everything else, and then it should print it to the file. I wonder what that looks like. I'm gonna do that right now. All right, so let's do new. Just a text document. All right, so here's a text document. File, save as, desktop, Tesla printout. Guess that's fine. Okay. Now we need to find the actual path name. Desktop, Tesla, show more options, properties. Copy as path. Is that what I need? Copy as path, and then we'll go here, and then, gosh, but we don't need all this. I can't wait another 30 minutes for this thing to go through this. So we're gonna move this down to, instead of 300 days, we're gonna move this down to 10 days. And it's gonna rerun, but that's fine. We're gonna come back here, and for our print, we'll have, what did it say? File, and then I think there was that, and then that close that off. Not sure if there was a comma or not. I'm gonna paste that, and we'll see if that works. So it does need a comma. Needs a comma. Okay, file has got to be separate with its own comma. Okay. All right. So hit that. Go back here. Hit refresh again. Wow. And then I just open this up and it's there. Okay. All right. All right. Learned a little something new tonight. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Then I could just copy it here and then move it to my spreadsheet from there. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we got that. Oh, there was the, again, you go to control, you go to text wizard, and then you go to delimited, you use your commas. If you put commas and then finish. Okay, good deal. All right, so that's pretty much everything that we have up here. All right, well, now that I know how to capture this information in a reasonable fashion, and we can, like I said, we can print it to file, we can do a bunch of different things. That just adds to the ability to work with the data. So I'm gonna look at this data for a little bit later on tonight, and I'm gonna see if I can come up with any. I'm gonna put some of this stuff on charts, and then see if I can come up with just a glimmer, just a little something to give us an edge. We just need an edge. We just need an edge, right? Because everything is right in the middle, right? Between 1 and 2, we're at 1.5. Between this, we're, between being on both sides of a positive and negative of a 200 period moving average, we're right there close to 0. What range is 0.85, but everything is pretty well balanced. So we just need to find the crevice to give us a little bit of leverage so we can push off of. I'm guaranteed to find it, guys. I am guaranteed to find it. All right. Anybody have any questions? We're gonna wrap it up, and tomorrow we'll probably work on a script for. I think we're gonna go back to like breaker structure type scripts or some type of strategy. So we'll look at that tomorrow. But if there's nothing else, then I'm Eric, and I'm out. Peace.